Hello and welcome to Total Health with Dr. Nick, where my purpose is to inspire, empower, and motivate you to live longer, healthier, and more abundant lives. And today's video is potentially life-saving for some of you guys out there, and it's really all about solutions for an enlarged prostate. Now, I know some of you are thinking, well, what if it's prostate cancer? Well, you want to make sure you get that checked out. So this is not a substitution for medical care. You want to make sure if you suspect prostate cancer, you get it checked out. You can do that through, of course, a biopsy, a digital rectal exam, and your doctor will be able to tell from either of those two if you do have prostate cancer or not. But this is really more about BPH, benign prostatic hyperplasia. Now, this diet and these solutions that I'm talking about, these tips, will work for both. So even if you are diagnosed with prostate cancer, I still recommend you do everything I recommend here because it will still work for you. But like I said, this is primarily for BPH. So getting on with it. Now, guys, what do we need to do about this? Well, you've got lots of different things you can do. There's lots of different things that you have at your disposal, so it's nothing to worry about. In fact, many of these things will take care of about 80% of your symptoms. So want to make sure you watch to the end because you want to get every single one of these tips. And guys, if you like what we're talking about, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Click that little bell notification so you get notified anytime I do a video. So let's go ahead and jump right on in to number one. What is the most important thing that you need to be thinking about when it comes to an enlarged prostate? And I know many of you are thinking about hormones. Well, of course, it has to do with your hormones. With that said, what is the number one most important hormone that we're thinking about when it comes to an enlarged prostate? And I know right off the bat, I know I was thinking this too. It's got to be testosterone. It's got to be my testosterone, Dr. Nick, because I know testosterone can enlarge the prostate. Well, it's not testosterone, so don't worry about that. Otherwise, we'd have all young guys walking around, all 18-year-olds with prostate cancer because, of course, we know back then our hormones were raging. So if we didn't have it back then, why would we have it now? So, number one hormone, the most important thing is insulin. Insulin is the most important hormone. Why? Well, because insulin is a growth hormone. In fact, there's something called insulin-like growth factor 1. Very, very important. But insulin is a growth hormone, so it's a very anabolic hormone. So the biggest factor is elevated insulin levels. So anything you can do, right, and this is, pay close attention to this, anything that you can do to drop insulin levels and keep insulin levels down, that's going to be the key thing. But good luck with that, because if you're following the standard American diet and the standard American lifestyle, or if you live anywhere else in the world and you eat like us here in America, you're in trouble. You need to change that and follow the recommendations I'm going to be making here. So what is number one? Well, number one, of course, is to avoid sugar, right? What's the biggest thing that's going to stimulate insulin secretion or insulin production is sugar, right? Because insulin is designed to get sugar out of your bloodstream and get it into your cells so that you can use it for fuel. So getting your sugar levels down is going to be crucial. Now, most of you are thinking sugar, well, yeah, but I don't eat cake and I don't eat candy. I'm not into that so much. But sugar can come in many different forms. So just saying lower your sugar, of course, the ones who are using table sugar and things like that, cane sugar, agave syrup, all these different things can elevate insulin. In fact, what you have to be careful of is many of you genetically can even think of sugar or have something sweet like a stevia and it will elevate your sugar levels. Proteins can elevate your sugar levels. About the only thing that doesn't elevate your insulin and your sugar levels is pure fat. So if you're drinking oil all day, you're going to be really good. But for the most part, anything can elevate your sugar levels. As I said, just thinking about it. How many times do you think to yourself, Dr. Nick, I just walked past a bakery, I could look in the window and put on weight? Because a lot of you genetically are designed that when you think of sugar, you spike your insulin, okay? So number one, reduce the sugars. Number two is going to be to avoid grains and starches. Now those, if you haven't figured it out, are sugars also. Here's the difference. When it's a big molecule, we call it a carbohydrate. Big molecules are starches. As they break down to sugars. So potato, rice, corn, wheat, barley, oats, they're all sugar, okay? Those are all starches. Like I said, sweet potatoes, fruit, all these are starches and they're all sugars. So you have to make sure you keep these low. Like I said, number one hormone involved with this is insulin. You have to keep your insulin levels down. Don't let it spike all day. I know many of you think, but Dr. Nick, this is my healthy whole grains. My doctor said I have to eat healthy whole grains, otherwise I don't get my fiber. Guys, there's plenty of fiber when it comes to things like your vegetables. Don't worry about that. You don't need your healthy whole grains to survive. That is a myth, okay? That was put out by the food industry, okay? So you don't have to have healthy whole grains to get all your fiber. In fact, they're not so healthy. Next, I'm going to recommend a keto or low carb diet. You could also use paleo, although paleo does have grains on it, so that's probably not the best choice. But I would say easily the best choice is a keto diet or a low carb diet. That's going to be the best way to go. Why? Because you train your body to not crave sugars and starches so much. You train your body not to be a sugar burner, but instead convert to a fat burner, which, by the way, is much better off anyway. Sugars tend to be a dirty fuel. It makes too much reactive oxygen species, or we know them as free radicals. The best thing you can do is start to teach your body how to burn fat for fuel. It's a much, much cleaner fuel source. Think of dirty fuel versus something like natural gas. It's a whole lot cleaner. So, by the way, if any of you are having trouble with this and you want more information about the keto diet and what you could do, don't guess anymore. Check out my keto course. I'll put the link right down in the description. You could check it out, see if it's a fit for you, because we'll give you everything you need to eat: meal planning, diet, food, shopping, videos, inspiration, motivation, anything you can need to do this diet successfully. Check that out. And also too, I've got down below my link for the keto cookbook. You could check that out too. Recipes are really simple, clean, and healthy. Those are the best things. So anyway, check it out. Other than that, let's get back to this. So the ketogenic diet, like I said, is extremely important because it switches your body from a sugar burner to a fat burner. Much, much better for cognitive function. In fact, I won't get too into this, but check out the videos I've done. I've got a whole playlist of the ketogenic diet, so check that out. But this is definitely going to be one of your biggest tools in your toolbox on how to reduce your prostate, is to start eating more healthy fats, your eggs. And I know you're thinking, but eggs have so much cholesterol. Guys, cholesterol is okay. We need that too. Check out the videos I have on that. Things like avocados, salmon, olives, fantastic olive oil. In fact, I just did a video on the best cooking oils. That's going to be a plus. Check that one out also. Things like your nuts, dark chocolates. Dark chocolates have healthy oils in it, so it's all going to be good and healthy for you. What goes along perfectly with the ketogenic diet is intermittent fasting. Now, for those of you who are new to intermittent fasting, it just simply means that you're shortening up your eating window, and there's a longer window of when you're not eating. Now, you're not going to starve. It's okay. You'll get through this. But basically, most people do it this way. They stop eating around 8 o'clock at night and then don't eat until about noon the next day. That's about 16 hours. That's about the average time that you want to do intermittent fasting. Now, what are the benefits of that? Well, if you're not eating, guess what? You're burning your body's fat. So if you don't have a steady source coming in from breakfast, which is where you're breaking the fast, or your snacks, your body has to turn to fat for fuel, and it will turn to your own body fat. So fantastic way to do that. But also too, most importantly, in conjunction with what we're talking about today, hey, if you're not eating, you're not spiking your blood sugar, okay? Now, in the morning, I want you to be careful of this. There's something called the dawn effect. Many of you will start to check your blood sugars, which I totally recommend. Go to Keto Mojo. I've got a link down below for that too. Keto Mojo is going to be the best tool to be able to check your blood sugar levels, and you could also test your ketones. Now, I don't recommend you checking your blood sugar right away in the morning. Why? Because in the morning, your body's secreting cortisol to wake you up. So your highest levels of cortisol are right in the morning. Now, what is that going to do? Well, that's going to cause you to dump some blood sugar. So all of a sudden, your blood sugar is going to appear elevated, and you're going to think, Dr. Nick, I don't get it. I haven't eaten all night, and my blood sugar is higher than it was before I went to bed. Now it's at 105. Believe me, I had that experience myself too. It used to drive me crazy until I figure out it's the dawn effect. So you want to make sure you check your blood sugar at about noon, 1 or 2, somewhere around that range, and that's where you're going to get the most accurate reading. Next, you want to avoid at all costs soy products. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, but soy is supposed to be healthy. Look at how long people in Asia live. They're using fermented soy. It's very, very different. It's a fermented soy product. It's a lot healthier for you. Don't use the industrial grade soys that we have here, the soy milk, things like that. It's all bad for you. Why? Because soy has estrogen mimicking compounds in it. It's very estrogenic. And guys, you don't want too much estrogen in your system. If your estrogen levels go out of skew with your testosterone levels, that's going to create this problem. So as we get older, get your testosterone checked. A good blood test will do that. So check your testosterone. As your testosterone goes down as you get older and your estrogens are rising because you're eating things like soy products, and some conditions, sometimes even flax seeds will do it. So you want to be careful with that. keep these low. If you keep them low, it'll keep your estrogens low, which will keep your ratio to testosterone a lot higher. So you want to avoid soy products. Next, make sure you're getting full fat dairy, whether you're having yogurt, whether you're having kefir, amasi, good old cottage cheese, things like that. Make sure you're getting full fat. Avoid the low fat, avoid the 2% or the no percent. Stay away from it. Make sure you're getting full fat dairy. And some of you, here's the thing. Some of you may determine that you don't do well on dairy. Well, that's something we test for in our office. We do genetic testing, and this is something you may want to look into, maybe find a doctor in your area, or you can contact our office and we could do the DNA tests on you to test your genomics. With that, we could determine genetically by your DNA exactly what type of fats you do best on. Some people don't do well on saturated fats, so full fat dairy tends to be saturated. You may do better on monounsaturated fats or polyunsaturated fats, so the healthy kind. So you want to make sure that you're eating the right kind of fats. And one way to know that without guessing, because I know some of you notice, you say, you know what, I don't do as well on the keto diet as my friend does, because maybe you need a little lower fat and a little higher protein. Your genetics will tell you that. So once again, contact a doctor in your area that does genomic testing, or you can reach my office. I'll put the link down below so you can contact us through email. And finally, avoid bad oils. Guys, you need to stay away from these like the plague. In fact, I just did a video on the worst cooking oils a couple of weeks ago, so check that one out. But these oils you want to avoid at all costs. Why? Because they're seed oils, they're superheated, they use hexane, other chemicals, bleaching agents, and they are overrun with omega-6 fats. And they're not the good kind of omega-6, because I know there's some good ones, but these are the bad omega-6 fats, and they are highly, highly, highly inflammatory. So which kind of oils am I talking about? Well, things like your corn oil. Stay away from corn oil. This stuff is horrible for you, not to mention 90% of the corn in the United States is GMO corn, so your body won't even know what to do with it. It's like frankenfood. It's like just faux food. Next is things like canola oil. Canola oil, once again, is an oil that was an industrial oil that they used in Canada that they converted into an edible oil by changing its composition of smell, by bleaching it, using different chemicals to extract it and change the coloring of it. It used to be called rapeseed oil. They then converted it to canola oil because basically it means Canada oil. So this is not a good oil to use. I know people think, well, but it has omega-3 fats in it. Yeah, but they're not good because they've been superheated. So that means they went rancid, they oxidized, so they're not good oils. Things like soybean oil, I know it looks like Nutrioily or something like that, however you pronounce that. Nutroli, something like that. Anyway, it's not nutritious. Like I said, stay away from the soy because it has estrogen mimickers in it. You want to avoid it. Last but not least, just good old vegetable oil. That stuff's terrible. Once again, that was cottonseed oil years ago. That was another waste product kind of oil that they figured out that, hey, we can sell this to people. They'll buy it. We'll bleach it. We'll clean it up. We'll make it not smell anymore. We'll change the color of it. And people will buy it, of course, because we'll sell it like it's a healthy vegetable oil because it's from vegetables. No, it's not. It's not from vegetables at all. It's from seeds and things like that. And when they do that, they use very harsh chemicals and heats to extract it. So it's not like my family does in Italy where they just press the olives and the oil oozes out and then they bottle it and it's good to go just like that. No, these are used by very dangerous methods to get the oils out. So guys, you want to avoid everything I've talked about here. You want to avoid all the things I talked about and make sure you follow every single one of these protocols that I recommend, because I'll tell you what, once again, whether you have an elevated PSA from prostate cancer or if it's elevated from just benign prostatic hyperplasia, you have to make sure. But either way, you can still use all these recommendations even if you are diagnosed with prostate cancer, all right? So if you've got it, still follow these recommendations. Well, guys, I hope you like the information. Before you go, don't you go away. You make sure you check out my other videos too. If you like this one, you thought it was informative, you're going to love those too. Well, this is Dr. Nick. I love and appreciate you. Thanks for supporting my channel. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.